G'day guys, Mankey with the Outer Circle, and today we want to talk about, well, Primaris Marines, but not in a negative way or anything. I just want to talk about what I want to see with them going forward, because I think they're a great idea, they've just been executed a little bit poorly to this point. So, first thing I want to see is I want to actually see something interesting with their fluff. Maybe they're flawed in some way, like the Thunder Warriors were. Maybe there's division, maybe they're insular because they don't feel they're a part of the chapters that they've been forced to join. Maybe they have a superiority complex like the Primaris did. They're better than everyone around them and they think people should know it. Things like that. Chaos corruption, of course, is a natural sort of thing you'd expect to happen, but I'd rather these guys didn't get corrupted by chaos as such. I think I'd probably just prefer Fabius to succeed in creating super soldiers. You know, maybe not Fabius's version of a perfect soldier, but, you know, a superior Chaos Warrior may be more interesting, because the current Fabius enhanced warriors are pretty pathetic. And frankly, I think that's something you could have a lot of fun with if you do it right. Something else I'd like to see with the faction is vehicles. And not things like a Grav Raider covered in 400 missiles, but, you know, something different. Something new, something different. Maybe some more open-topped vehicles. These are Marines. We have the Land Speeder. Maybe it'll be great to see some sort of open-topped light tanks. Things like that. Different transport options. Flyers, possibly, would be a good thing. Also, with Dreadnoughts and Walkers for these guys, let's have some fun with it. Let's do something different. Let's not just recycle punchy dreads. Why don't we do what they did in Heresy and bring in some Dakka dreads? Things like the Deredeo dreadnought in the Horus Heresy, which is just a gun platform. Very different to the other dreadnoughts. Yes, there's a Primaris Librarian. I think it'll be great to see... Well, I suppose it's common sense that all the different characters over time will be introduced into the range, such as Tech Marines, Apothecaries, that kind of thing. So, that's a thing, obviously. Primaris Terminators would be a great idea. I also want to see... I want to see them look after the fans with the rules and the fluff. Because this right here, this is in Australian pricing. So $120 for 2 characters. The only way you're going to get their rules currently is inside this bundle. Or inside the blister packs that contain these guys. Frankly, that's an outrageous cost for the miniatures, and also that's an outrageous cost for getting the rules for these miniatures, because the rules for these guys, they aren't actually in the index. So, unfortunately, you'll have to go and pay for these. Now, some people say, that's fine, if you're going to use these characters, you're going to have to buy them anyway. But not everyone's going to. A lot of people are just going to go out and convert characters up for themselves. A lot of people don't like the monopose static straight out of the box look of these characters. I myself fucking despise monopose characters that can only be built in one way. It's boring. I feel the characters are the ones who deserve the diversity, the ones who deserve to be able to be armed with different types of weapons and that you can have a lot of fun with. So let's not lock them down to monopose. Let's do like they did with the Space Marine Captain all those years back. Let's see if I can find it in the video. Obviously people familiar with the Space Marine Captain in plastic. It was released, I believe, way back in 4th edition. And the Space Marine Captain in plastic was a multi-pose captain kit, multi-part kit. You could build the captain however you want with a Thunder Fist, Power Fist, Thunder Hammer, any of that kind of thing. Doesn't look like he's on the web store anymore, which would be a real shame. Nope, there he is. So $37, half the price of the current Primaris Marines. If Games Workshop would be a dear and load up, that would be great. There we go, Australian internet for you. 2 paper cups and a piece of string. Now, this captain is fantastic because look at some of the different options. Here he is with a helmet and a chainsword, okay. No helmet, Power Fist, Combi Plasma. This one's got a Storm Bolter. About this guy, Power Sword, Combi Melter. So that's what you deserve with your characters. Your characters are the ones you can really go to town on, that you can customize, that you can do a lot with. And all characters, librarians, tech marines, and commanders, or captains, or however you want to look at them, they're the three types of guys that should have the most customization. The librarian should be able to take a staff, an axe, a sword. You shouldn't have to be pulling out the green stuff and the hobby knife and that kind of thing in order to be doing these guys up how you want. So that's my big thing. Now, added to all of this, the Nurgle Plague Marines. So, yep, we've got Nurgle coming, we've got Nurgle Plague Marines coming. We do know this. Thing is, though, the current Nurgle guys, very static, very mono-pose. They've previewed another 3 Nurgle Marines, also very static, very mono-pose. The characters, I'm growing to like them more. I still don't like this smoky effect. I do believe we'll see Terminators, that kind of thing, with Nurgle. As people have known who followed the show for a while, we have seen Mortarion before and sort of described him. I still think he looks a bit like a butterfly who's just emerged from the cocoon and the wings are still drying, as opposed to a fly. But a fly is definitely their influence when they've created him. So you'll see that when he comes out very soon. The only thing I don't like about him, if I'm honest, is the scythe. The scythe blade looks fine, with like this rib cage effect it's got going on, but the haft, the thing that you hold the scythe with, just looks a bit weedy for him, a little bit thin, but neither here nor there. Majin Buu, yeah, no, this guy looks horrible. Nurgle needs another sorcerer. The worst part is there's not a lot you can do with this guy's face apart from drill it out and put something else there completely. I was thinking maybe if you go to the Chaos 40k spawn kit, and maybe just put one of the eyeballs in there, so it's just one big eyeball. That could be a bit of fun. Or maybe 3 eyeballs. Options. Maybe even just chainmail where his face is, because his face is probably what lets this model down the most. Not just the vomit that's coming out of his hand. That's a story for another time. Last thing I want to cover off on with this really, really quick episode, Slaanesh. I've got grave concerns for where Games Workshop's taking Slaanesh, because we've proven time and again they don't have any clue how to deal with Slaanesh. They seem to think that Slaanesh is all about sex and drugs. They forget that Slaanesh is vice in all its forms. That could be the excesses of noise, like in Noise Marines. It could be the excesses of combat with people like Lucius. Yes, there's drugs, yes, there's sex, but anything that you can take too far in life is what they're into. Maybe it's racing cars, maybe they've got a need for speed. Oh, shit, Doom Rider was like that, right? So, these are the things that would be great with Slaanesh. I don't know what they're bringing out. I haven't heard any rumours about Slaanesh yet, so even people I know located within the company haven't said a peep to me about. So this is all conjecture. I would like to see not only Noise Marines, but one thing that was suggested to me by a friend is a sort of noise obliterator, a sonic obliterator. When he said that to me, I thought, yeah, that's actually a really great idea. Another thing I'd like to see is, rather than going for Phoenix Terminators or Tartarus Terminators again, I'd like to see them get Marines riding Steeds of Slaanesh, kind of like how in Fantasy, Archaon's got the... not Fantasy, Age of Sigmar. If I look around, hopefully, I can find Archaon. It's a lot harder than you think, because the Fantasy, this whole mix-up of clicks and tags and be a pain in the ass. Okay, so the Varangard. The Varangard. I'd like to see something like this in 40k, but instead of 3 demonic steeds like this, I'd like to see Steeds of Slaanesh with Marines riding them, because that's just something different. And Games Workshop's proven they like doing these larger models before. It'd be great to see some larger models like that. Something that's fast. It's not Terminators. It's not digging into some other Legion's niche. You know, it's something they themselves can have. So that's the big thing I really want for Slaanesh. Lucius should stay as he is. I know Araman's got the gimmick of having the disc now, but really I want those characters to stay as they've always been, just as long as they're solid in the game to their fluff and how they should interact with the universe around them. Lastly, with Khorne, I think Khorne Terminator is much along the same vein as the Red Butchers in the Horus Heresy. So Terminators just kitted out for close combat, totally berserk. In the Horus Heresy game, they always hit on 3s, but because they don't care about defending themselves, they always get hit on 3s. So there's some cool, fun stuff you could do there, maybe, with the way that 40k's gone with 8th edition. So these are the sort of changes I'd love to see. Do keep in mind, Nurgle is getting a complete do-over. Slaanesh will need a complete do-over, kits-wise. Khorne, on the other hand, Khorne's a little bit easier. You've got Khan up to date. All you really need to do is the Berserkers, Angron, and a special unit. So that's going to be a much quicker one to update. Whereas with armies like Slaanesh, it's everything. You've got to update Lucius, Fulgrim needs to be sculpted, you need to do your basic troops, your Noise Marines, you need to do that sort of elite unit, plus anything else, any characters, that kind of thing. Anyway, this is just little things I'd like to see with Primaris Marines, Nurgle, Slaanesh, Khorne, that kind of thing moving forward. I'll also talk about the Xeno races later on down the track when I have time, but I'm a pretty busy person, so anyway, thanks all for watching the episode. Love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comments area below the video, and I'll talk to you all next time.